And good morning, everybody. It is October 21st, and this is the Hawkeye session. Wednesday, we're going to be going from Wednesday. Today, we're going to be, let's see, I think we're going to go to about 9:30 today. Just a bill, maybe 9:30, quarter to 10. Susan Batchelder has her session later on today. So the disclaimers, get those out of the way. Trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor. If you have any doubts, this is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendation will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. And before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And with that, the last alert that I'm seeing, what we had was at 2 o'clock this morning. I see that the alert notification had one at 7:15, but I do not see it anywhere, and I'm not sure why we're not seeing that. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to just pick up a chart here and see if there's anything that we can do to find that that may work for us here a little bit. So let me go to the charts. I'm just, since we don't have an alert to really work with, I'm just going to go to the US yen. I see that the overnight session, they had a nice strong move to the downside, and I'm sure everybody should be able to see my screen. Now, one thing I'm looking at is we've been looking at the overall bigger picture with higher time frames. And I think that's significant because as things are in a relatively narrow range, we want to see what the bigger picture looks like. We're seeing some really good moves, but you don't know if it's going to be at an extreme of a move or not. So what I did was I started looking into the higher time frames and seeing where we can get our major trend lines from several days back off of like an hourly chart or 3 or 4 hour chart. And if you can see here, we had, if we go all the way back to, this is all the way back into August, you see we had a really nice strong move down. And so, and then we see we have a lower high, we have higher lows. This was a higher low, this was another little higher low. So this pretty much gives us we have our 2-point hit. Here's an anchor, here's a hit, and somewhere back in here, there's going to be a third hit, but we don't know where that's going to be. But right now, these 2 points were of a significant nature. So here's the anchor, here's the hit, and then somewhere out here, there was another one. Now you can see, as you look at this, you can see there's been a nice strong little pullback right off of this point. And so when this third hit comes in, and you can see where the third hit on this trend line, it just broke right through. So right here is where it broke out, and it's probably now looking to head on down towards this area here. So I'm going to just mark this as a potential area. Here's the strong move out, and you can see it's just like a straight shot out, came back down, retested this, and then it took off again. So I'm going to use this point right here. Again, these are all on higher time frames, but this is going to be an area where you can see where there was a lot of strong strength movement coming out of this price range, came on up, came back, retested this area, and then it just kept on going and going, going, and came back and retested. This area right here was tested also, and you can see that this was the next area that would have been of interest on this. After this thing broke out, you can see this is the next area of interest. This thing broke, and that's pretty much where we are right now between here and here. We're going to call this a demand zone. So I'm just going to draw this and keep this on the chart. And you can keep these things on your charts for a long time, just so you have it for a reference, for future reference, for where this is where on the higher time frame, this is where the thing started with it. This is way back at the end of September. So we're just going to mark this as a demand zone. We're going to lock this in, and we're just going to kind of keep this on our charts until we don't use it anymore. I'm just going to lock this. And so now let's go back to our 15-minute chart and see what we actually have here. Again, we don't show any alerts, but we're just going to be looking at seeing the strong move down, seeing where we have a little bit of a consolidation going. This is right at where this other pivot was, way over here to the left that we marked. This is a significant point. This is right where it broke. Now the question is it going to break and just give us a little head fake to go back up and retest this wedge or this trend line? Because this was a strong trend line from before, and then it made this little flag pattern, which was, if you look at it in the bigger picture area, you'll see that it had a nice little trend. You can see the difference between the angle of this move and the angle of this move. And usually what happens is when you get a strong move down, you'll get this small gradual trending to the upside, but you can see the angle is very shallow, then which creates another trend. But once it breaks, it usually breaks pretty hard. So it goes down real hard, bases slowly, and then it goes back down again. So this is another strong move coming down. And let's just see it. And you can see we have a little bit of we can draw a bit of a wedge in here, and we'll just see how this thing is going to play out. And I said the target will be down here. So we have a fair amount of room till we get to, once this thing broke to here, this would be the next target. And we have looking at about 25, 30 pips. We'll check our fib zones and see if there's anything in. We have this is right where we have the red zone. Here's our green zone, and then our blue zone's right back here in the middle of this range. So I'm just going to put this on a 15-minute. Yeah, that's a 15-minute zone. So here's our 15-minute blue. I'm going to mark that so that when we transfer it to other charts, we can still see where this thing is. And I'm going to make this a 15-minute blue right there. That's a significant area to be looking at. So we're going to lock that in for right now. We're going to use that for reference. Here's a green one. So we're going to mark that one. And every place where you have a 15-minute, there's going to be a 5-minute blue zone there. And then we have the 15-minute red. I'm just going to mark that one as well. And so we're looking at a little bit higher time frames, but they are significant. And you can see where things are, how things balance, especially on these higher time frames. You'll see that you're going to get a lot of those areas are going to either be, they're going to hold, or when they break, they're going to break pretty hard. They're going to come right down to bounce hard. So right now we've got all this area right in the middle between these two 15-minute zones. Now these are probably about 60 pips apart, I believe. No, actually, these are probably about 30 pips apart, I think, on the Japanese yen. Yeah, they're about 33, 32 pips apart on the yen. So right now, this thing broke down from this area about 15 pips. Got another 15 pips to the downside. So there's a good chance this thing's going to break to the downside. Let's look at our lower time frame charts. Look at our 5-minute. And if we have some weakness coming down in there, let's check our 1-minute.
Hey, morning, Al.
Good morning, Matt. Matt, double check your notifications and see if you're getting any notifications since 2 o'clock this morning.
Yes, sir. Let's go see.
Because we had the Telegram gave alerts at 7:15, but I couldn't find any place where the alert showed up on the notifications.
No.
Also at
No.
5, 6:30.
Yeah,
right?
there are several. Yeah, there are several overnight, and the last one I showed was at 2 o'clock on the U.S. Swiss. But they're having other alerts since then. I just don't know. Well, the Telegram sent out the alert. I don't know if that means anything or not.
No, so I've got an admin level access to the to Auvoria Prime, so I can go basically to the back end of the website, and it says I'm not allowed to access this page. So we're gonna have to evaluate. I'm gonna have to send a message to Bill and find out kind of what's up,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
if you could do
can't
that,
get
that'd
in.
be helpful. Yeah, that'd be helpful to find out what's going on with that. It's unusual that we have alerts from the Telegram, but nothing from anything else.
Yeah.
So,
Let me see here.
okay.
I'm
In
gonna
the
log
meantime,
out.
what we're doing is I just found a really sharp move down on the U.S. yen, and we're just sort of drawing it out from a higher time frame to see if we can just, since we didn't get the alert when, we can just create our own
Our own wedges for now.
viable wedge for now for
Yeah.
today's session.
I had a great wedge on Euro USD yesterday. And I had another one that year USD JPY is actually a 4-hour wedge. It's a really big wedge because I was looking at that yesterday. I was analyzing all of the majors and looking for just trend lines, wedges. So you've got something nice here, Al. This setup with the flat bottom and the kind of sloping towards the downside, that looks like something nice to play with. If we
On
get
the
a nice yes on the US JPY.
Well, and actually, what we did before you came in here, we drew this. We had what I did is I went to a higher time frame, and we just sort of drew these wedges off of the 1-hour chart.
Yeah.
And this was the top, this was the bottom, and it broke. And we had a major wedge coming in from way back over here.
Right.
And then so that was our first hit. That's our anchor. Here's our first hit. Here's our third hit is somewhere out here, which is where this hit. It hit and it just broke right through and went
Yeah, well,
down.
you got a powerful cross there at the 513 level.
Yeah,
That is
we have a powerful cross here, and this is at the Fibonacci line. So and came right down, and right now we're right in between these two 50-minute Fibonacci's with a wedge
good.
developing. So now the question is it going to come down? This is a demand zone, which we picked up all the way over from back in September. And this area right here, this green line right here, was also one that just got broken on this move. So this one didn't hold, and so right now we're looking at this area down here for the possible target zone for this down move. So right now I'm looking for this thing to be a drop, basing, and then drop again. Is what I'm looking at with this one.
Cool. We got something interesting. So the last alert I had when I went back into and checked that's showing up on the website is at 2 a.m. It's the US Swiss. And I think that's the same alert that you had. Yeah.
Yep.
But there are other wedges out there because I just drew them. And I'm curious to see why we're not seeing them notified here.
Yeah, there must be something in the back office that got whacked. So, but anyway, so right now
the whole change. So
yeah, so right now we have this drop. We have here's my wedge. We had this nice drop. It came back down, broke through this 15-minute fib line, came down, broke, passed it, came back, rechecked it, and now we're looking to a possible break of this bottom part.
Okay.
Put some other tools up here to see if we have anything, and I'm seeing that there's if we could very possibly get a trade to break to the downside. Now the question is there enough room for a target? From what I'm seeing, that with such a strong move, we already figured out where our target zones are. This would be a fib line, would be a target, and then down here is a demand zone that we also look for. So, as the RSIs they're consolidating right now. Here was the bottom. It came back up. It went up, broke, and it made actually have a little bit of divergence here right now. With here's a low, which is right down here. Here's a lower low, but this is a higher low. So we have divergence off of this candle. So I'm going to draw that in. This is on a 15-minute chart. So here's a candle. Here's the low. And oftentimes when you have divergence, that's a good point where you're going to get a turnaround on this.
Yeah, divergence is generally going to be your trade.
Oftentimes, yep.
Often. if it's true divergence at certain levels. Something interesting to note. Are you so we're just waiting for that to break, right?
Well, right now I'm just trying to draw this out here. So let me finish drawing this out. If you have something else, we can
Yeah,
look.
I do.
Okay.
Later on, yeah, I can give you guys a little sneak peek into what's in my brain and what I think, because I just did some analysis on all the majors at different time frames, so that
Okay.
maybe we could see some potential setups.
All right. So
Now
what
that
we,
we don't really have a whole lot of, well, the alerts are not really working this morning.
yeah. So anyway, here's a different. Here's a low. Here's a lower low. Here's a low. Here's a higher low. There's our divergence. So right now, and we just came through this strong move that we may start to see some consolidation. It's either going to do one of two things: either come back up and give back some of this drop here and then crash down, or it's going to just stay here and then just crash. We'll see what kind of pressure we have to the downside on this. But right now, I'm seeing this thing as being somewhat of a pullback. If it breaks out of the bottom here, we may have a trade. For the target areas we're looking at, here's our C. As it comes up, this trend is going to be going up higher. So that will give us a little bit more room when it breaks. But if it breaks, comes down, retests the wedge, we might have a shot to the downside. But it's going to have to get through the A. It's going to have to get through this price on the A. Here's the low of where it's dropped down now. It did pull back some. Here we have this C. So this could be a trap right in here. So I'm going to just mark that. If the trap holds, it could go up higher. If not, it's going to break, and then we may have some room to the downside. So I'm just going to mark this as a potential. The fact I'm not seeing anything to the left of this chart anywhere near here, I'm thinking this is going to be more of an entry to sell on a close inside the this range. More so than a trap. I think it's more of this is going to be more of it breaks, comes down, comes back, retests this trend line, and then it's going to go break to the downside. And that's the way I would be setting this one up. We do have a strong move down. Let me go into a 1 minute to a lower time frame chart and just see if we can figure something out here. Let's go to the 5 minute. Here's a strong move down, came back, retraced, and I'm looking to see if this thing breaks to the down. We've got some weakness down here, and there's a lot of other weakness on the other. We have our spread. We have Japanese yen is strong on a 4 for the RCS. Strong 4, strong 4. I would say this is going to be a break. This could be a possible trade right here. So I'm going to set this up with a sell order. And if it can break through the bottom, we'll take a shot at it. See if this 5 minute will close inside here, spike down, or at least if it spikes and breaks the bottom of this box and closes inside the box and retests it, then we have a trade. Right now, we're just sort of projecting to see what it's going to do. And let me check something else out over here and see if there's something over here that might help to confirm that.
Al, at the 9 o'clock hour,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna have some major moves in the market. Just a heads up.
We have some news coming out.
No, just everything is lining up really good. Just like everything has been in kind of consolidation mode, and like overnight it had a big boost, and then now ever since the morning it was kind of consolidating a bit, and we could look for something pretty significant. And
any particular pair you're talking about?
Well, I can show you after if you see it, you're checking that trade out, eh? UJ?
Yeah, I'm checking the UJ out.
UJ short.
Yeah.
Let me see what I see here. Because I got a lot of stuff going on my chart right now. There's lots. There's almost too much to talk about, to be honest. Like, and you're 100. You're not 100%, but I would say that we're gonna wait for that really nice break to the downside. I'm gonna wait for it to come back up and kind of test the wedge a little bit, and then we're in there.
Yeah, that's about what I would say too.
Because you know what? I would almost get in there now, and that's just because I can kind of explain it later of why I would get in there now. I'm comfortable taking that trade. So UJ, yeah. Hey, you know what? Ever since I made that mistake with the wrong currency pair, I haven't made it in like 3 months. So it's been good. You know, sometimes you need to learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't learn the hard way, you're not going to learn. Someone can tell you something all the time, but unless you experience it, then you really don't learn. So let me wait for that 5-minute candle to close after it breaches the wedge like this, because this appears to be, so the wedge is the corrective pattern, so it's going for a correction, but it can be a continuation to the downside, a continuation of that original move. That original move was almost 80 some pips to the downside, and now we're breaking down. So I took it 2 minutes and 43 seconds earlier than I would listen to my rules, but that's a very dominant candle break. Like that's as good as it gets for a candle breaking to the downside, I think.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the break that we're.
Yeah, because you got another 1362 cross at the 1 minute level that just happened. So I am going to give you a target. What's your let's match up our targets. How about that? So my target.
Yeah, right now my target would probably be somewhere right about where it is right now to 104.77.
Okay, so mine is a little bit more
but that's
aggressive.
That's only 3 pips. That's only 3 pips from right now. Right
Oh,
now,
okay.
if we got in here at 104.782, and right here the 74, that's only 4 pips.
No, so
I say
my
a little bit more. I mean, we need to go a little bit deeper than that.
yeah. So my target is 66.38.
Let's see.
And I know I'm going to probably, and if I want a 50% target, which is still a good trade.
You said 60s. No.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, Matt.
66.
No, it can't be 66.
104.66.
104.66. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That sounds a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Al and I both heard you say like 66.88, and we were like,
No, 104.66.88.
Yeah.
Or something, or 77. I don't even know. Anyway,
Okay.
just 66, because you're not going to use the pipettes on the USD JPY.
Right.
Pips are only the last 2 numbers.
Correct.
Because of the
On
way
JPY.
that JPY is calculated. So we're in UJ short. We're probably going to have another little wedge as soon as it breaches. It's probably going to come back up and test the bottom of that trend line. And that would be potentially another entry. So if you put 1% once it breaks, and then another 1% after it comes back and tags it, that's a different way of trading this. But you're not going to put 2% and 2%. That's 4%. And if the trade doesn't go in your direction, you're gonna be what's the proper word? Kind of caught with your pants down. Yeah, because you don't want to take a 4% loss. So let's see. The easiest wedges are these ones. Now, would you say the ones that are just big drop and then basing and then a big drop?
Right. The thing is to where to get into this this trade when it broke down the bottom of this. And right now, this is a really strong candle coming down. Now the question is, how do you get into it?
Oh, I'm already.
Well, you're already
Yeah.
into it, but if you were if you were waiting, which oftentimes we're saying to do is to wait for that 5-minute candle to close and then come back and retest. It looks to me like this thing's not going to turn back, and I'm not seeing this thing turning back, but I don't want to jump in as it's coming down because I mean I'm still looking at this target right here as the next target, which would be 104.63 is going to be the next likely area for it to bounce off of.
So there's no worry about missing a trade, because vast majority of the time what's going to happen is it's going to form another wedge. It's going to form a wedge at the 1 minute level, and then it could either continue going down. And if it does form another wedge, then you can enter there, once you have that confirmation. But once it breaks out of that major wedge that you drew, it's pretty safe to put your stop loss on the other side of that trend line. And that's where I'm actually putting my stop loss. So I'm putting it at 104.85. And I don't mind getting stopped out, because if it does not go where I want it to go, then I don't want to be in that trade. And I don't want to take a significant loss. I don't mind losing 1% of my trading account on swinging. What I don't like doing is losing 2 or 4% of my trading account.
Now this move right now, if you got in right at the break, you would have gotten it. You would have your 7 pips. Well, if you got in at the break, you probably would have lost 2 pips on the entry. So you still would be right at your 5 pip target right now.
Yeah, that's about where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
So 5 pips plus spread, whatever. But I'm not. I wouldn't. I'm not pulling the trigger yet to get out of that. Now, since some of us didn't take that trade, I can take a look at another one that was looking nice. GU to the upside. Oh, Kiwi US. So I've got an alert on Kiwi US that I just drew my wedge. We're breaking to the top on Kiwi US.
Hang on, let me get my chart up here.
Yeah.
New Zealand USD.
Yeah. So Kiwi US, that top trend line is an important trend line. If it breaks that, it's kind of a flat top here. And if it breaks to the upside like it is now, I am taking a buy.
This top up here?
Nope. Before that.
Higher time frame?
A lower time frame.
A lower time frame.
Yeah. So I am going to try something. Can you tell I had breakfast this morning?
This is breaking this one, right? This pivot right here. So back
yeah.
to 15-minute.
Yeah, right. So they're.
I'd be looking at this top. I'd be looking at this area right here.
Oh, that's where you're looking. Yeah, I'm already.
I'm just looking at it in a different time frame here.
Right.
I'm looking at yesterday's. This is today. So this was Monday or Tuesday. This was Monday side. This was the open, the high of the week here. Here's the low of the week. So here's our weekly range right in here. So if we draw a trend line, let's just flat top this one for right now. And then we have this, we have this other trend coming up from the bottom here, from the bottom of the week. This is the low of the week so far.
Yeah.
To this point right here. So here's our anchor. Here's our hit. Waiting for the third hit somewhere out here, somewhere place. I'm just going to lock this. And we're going to look and see if there's anything over here. So here I'm looking at this pivot high, low, lower high. I'm going to start taking this thing from all the way over here to just for a reference, for our upper time frame reference. And here would be the anchor. This is the,
And UJ just melted.
and it just broke that.
Yeah. And UJ just melted.
Did it?
Yeah.
And like, unless you got in right here, there was no place to get back into this thing.
No. And I got an alert on UCAD based on my trend lines that I drew. So I am gonna go look at that.
Let's just pick one at a time here. So
good idea. That's a good idea.
So let's just, I mean, we're just, right now, we're just trying to analyze these things so that we can learn how to analyze. You know, we don't take trades, we're just trying, okay, so what I'm looking at here right now is, here was the anchor, here's our first hit, and here we just got the third hit that came up, tagged it, broke it, and right now it's breaking out at the top of this. So right now there's some momentum to the upside. Obviously, what's happening is that the dollar is getting real weak. Showing weakness on the dollar, and that was with the USD JPY that was going down, so the dollar was getting weak there. And here the New Zealand USD, the dollar is the second currency of the pair. We're going up. So we have the break. Now the question is there a place to get into this trade? So right now we have a nice little. We're still waiting for this thing to come back and test this, but we did get the break. So this is what I call our third hit. That's being there was a hit. Here's the break of the trend. I'm going to lock this one in, and so we have a strong move up, and we're just going to see if there's going to be a way of getting back on a pullback, getting in on a pullback, and see if this thing will continue going up. And the next target is going to be pretty much up in this area, which is right about where it is right now. If you see where this hit is, you see where this is coming up, is tagging this price range. And then the next one's going to be all the way up here. I'll mark that up.
Ooh, the charts are on fire today, man.
Well, it was so slow yesterday, and now we don't have the alerts.
No. But I'm just making my own alerts.
So this is our zone that we'll be looking at. If it breaks here and closes, this will be the next target area. And then coming over here, we're looking at this is the origin of where this down move came. And if we go to, let me see if this is the same spot. It probably will be pretty close, I'll bet. So I take I'll make this one a different color. So this candle right here. So here's where this whole move started. It was consolidating over here, came down, retested this area, and then it just broke with a lot of commitment. And right now, so it's breaking. It broke this right, coming up right to this point right here. It's right there. This would be the next area that's you're looking at. You might see a little bit of a trap in this area right in here for it to come back and retest the upper part of the wedge. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here. But I would be real careful with this at this point let's see how many pips we have here on this.
Pedro said he got 7 pips on New Zealand already.
All right, good for you, Pedro.
Solid.
You're a little faster on the trigger than I was.
Yeah, no, I won't say what trades I'm coming in. It's too fast it's just going to cause confusion. Well, maybe I'll review them later. How about that?
Okay. So this is I'm gonna call this a little trap area or be careful area. I'm a little concerned about that with the. Let's see what the price action is right on this move. But right now, I'm looking at coming back up, maybe pulling back, and then maybe taking up to the upside. We have a lot of on the 15-minute. This is a strong move on the 15-minute chart. Let's see if we can find something with. Let's go back to our UJ and see if we can find where there may be a secondary entry coming in on this. Strong move down. Still waiting to see if it consolidates any. The RSIs are coming back.
Yeah, you might get a 1-minute wedge.
We might get a 1-minute wedge here.
Yeah.
And then the question is, will we have enough drew him to the target area. This would be my first target. But we are coming down. And so if it gets through that, we could still come on. It still has the potential coming all the way down to this area.
Look for a good retracement on that, Al. You were talking a lot about retracements and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If we get a nice retrace, 23.6 or so, if UJ comes down to 104.71, that might be an entry. So you know exactly what we could have something special here.
I'll see. This question is if it pulls. I'd like to see it pull back. I'd like to see it pull back somewhere into this area. We're able to test this
76,
70, 75, 76 area. If it can pull back into that area, we might have another shot at another target down here. But the fact that we have this fib line right here, we might be. Remember, we have between these. Where's my red line? So we have lots of room in there.
Yeah. So someone mentioned something about Kiwi US. They made 7 pips on that, but the Pedro did. And you asked where you enter and leave. Well, actually, I'm still in that trade. I'm not out of it yet.
The Kiwi US.
Yeah, I'm still in long.
And you got in on the break?
Yes, sir.
Just before the break or on the break?
On the break. I saw that big 2-pip candle break, and there's no.
This was right here. That was somewhere. Was that 2 pips?
I don't know. It
66.39 to 66.34. Actually, this 15-minute candle. That was a.
Yeah, that's why I took the trade.
30 to 37.
Boom.
So there's 7 pips just in that one candle alone.
Look at that.
This is not the day that I not have those alerts come in.
Yeah. Really.
No, I decided to make my own. So all I did was I went on the 30-minute chart and I started drawing trend lines, and eventually they're gonna intersect with each other, and then I put an alert on them so that it'll ding and tell me, hey Matt, go check out this chart. And once all the damage is done for the day, we'll have a tally of how many pips we're able to catch. But here, I'm not exiting yet. My target on this is actually on Kiwi US is 66.49. And that's probably
no Kiwi. No, it can't be right. It's because you're already 66. That'd be 49. 66.
You're at that.
You're already at that.
Yeah, and that's my target.
Oh, okay. I thought you sounded like you had much more to go.
No, not at all. That's
Then this is where I said where the trap was. This is where I set this.
Rajiv said he has not gotten any trades since 11 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, so, that's the same as us.
Right. Yeah. 2 p.m. Yeah. He submitted a ticket already.
Cool. So that is actually a small pullback, but that was my target. So I'm going to stick to my discipline. It's actually spread that kept me in. It didn't hit because of spread. That's why I said 66.49. I guess my.
Well, let's see if the UJ is giving us any type of a pullback at all, and I'm not seeing one. It's still consolidating right in here.
Okay. Just a side note, and not to, if I'm going too fast, sorry. UCAD. So I took it short. I had a breach of my 30-minute trend lines. It was a very powerful breach. We had a 513 cross, and then I am in there until a target of 1.3099.
We'll take a look at that one. We'll take a look at that one after we get done with this one here.
Sounds like a plan. and then I'll slow down because I just took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades, and they all hit blue.
See, and that's what happens oftentimes is that when the dollar basically has the deciding factor which way it's going to go, several pairs at the same time take off for the same reason.
Yeah.
And I believe this. What time is it? The time is. I think
We're almost 9 o'clock.
Well, there was some news today at 8:30 with the CAD.
There was, eh?
Yeah, there was some news at 8:30 with the CAD. I read folder with the CAD at 8:30. Nothing new until then. But we're pretty much where time is we right now? It is 8:41. So this is probably all somewhat news based. I'm guessing is where these moves are coming from.
Yeah, everything consolidated really good last night. So
and see, we came right down here to the 15-minute. We got the bounce right off the 15, which is right at 104.63. And so I would say this trade is probably pretty much should have had your pips for the day. If you got into this thing way back here, you definitely got your pips for the day.
Let's see.
And we had this. This is basically a 21 pip move, 20 pip move.
Sheesh.
It's a nice little trade.
Yeah.
And actually, if we look at the wedge that we drew on this one, and we measure this one out to see how accurate that wedge would have been, let's say we take it from the somewhere between from the bounce of the A, my B here, by D here, measure this distance from this trend line. Let's just see how that stick would have worked with the target area. So we have our stick.
8473.
So we're looking at right here I'm going to put it right there and put it at the bottom of the A.
0.8.
And if you look to see and take it where the break was, and come down here and see where the target was, here is where the first target. So actually went a little bit further than that. Here we're getting a little bit of a retracement. Let's see if it comes back and breaks. So this is a strong move down, came up. This is the area that it's testing in right in here. If we get another break, it could keep on going down lower. It could come back down all the way into this demand zone. But right now it's got to get through this. And I would expect to see a bounce off of this. But if we get a bounce off of there, comes back, retest it, then we could maybe get another shot at the downside. So this is the ultimate target down here, which is what I would call from the back in September. So I'll tell you, I'm going to put an alert on here, and we will take a look at that US CAD that you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm just marking this down. I think I made too many pips today.
How can you make too many pips?
What a problem to have.
Too many pips. You can lose too many, but you can't make too many.
Well, then my head gets cloudy. 104.
Why is this thing not showing my alerts on here?
Did it break again?
Well, no, I'm trying to set the alert, add alert on the horizontal, but it's not showing the alert. It's not bringing up my alert box to take the alert. Let me try this one, see if there's something different. Add alert on the horizontal. My alert's not working. I had that problem before. I figured out what happened to it.
Yeah, we had to reset your NZD USD.
Sounds like a high class problem. Haha.
A high class problem. Yeah. First world problems. That was not a stop loss, by the way. That was just my MetaTrader 4 doing something funky.
See if it comes up.
Did we finally get an alert?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Let's see.
Maybe it woke up. What do we got here?
Mine did not.
No, mine did not check.
All right.
Check mine again.
It may be the interface when they updated. Maybe something screwed up.
Well, I said I didn't. If the alert came in, which it supposedly did, yeah, and it did not show my alert system.
Yeah, it didn't.
40 to 4
I didn't get
8.
the notification. It showed that there was an alert sent, but it's not showing in the notifications.
Okay.
So there's something screwy going on there.
And then
Give you some bulk.
Did you send Bill a message on this, Matt? Yeah. To see
no,
why
I didn't. Let me just check this because I just found out that it wasn't giving me alerts. 3, because I haven't been watching the Telegram and corresponding. So UJ was 9 pips profit. The NZD USD was 8 pips profit. The USD CAD was 8. Okay, 8 pips. Last night I took a EU, and I took that one for 11. No, more than that. Yeah, it's like 11 pips. Okay. And then I had another EU entry because of the wedge break, and that was 20. 15.
Let's go and take a look at the USD CAD. Let's see here. Hang on. Let me
Okay.
see what I've got here.
USD CAD's coming up, and it's gonna probably, if it tags the wedge, I am in there again. That is a very high probability trade that is going to continue to the downside. This is the pullback you want on UCAD.
Okay, so let's get on the chart here. And we're going to go on 15-minute chart. And we're going to see where we are with our, let's see, let's take
I'm
this
going to
off.
redraw my 15-minute UCAD wedge because I don't like it. I made that one really sloppy, and that's not acceptable.
So what I'm looking at in here, let's go to a higher time and see where the overall picture is looking at where it's going. So we had strong move down, strong move back up, and now it broke the bottom here. So right now we have a little bit of we have a strong trend coming down, and I'm going to take it from up here to see where our major trend lines are. So I'm going to take it from up in this area. And actually we're just trying to find out where the major trend is on the higher time frames. And then we're seeing where the wedges form inside those wedges. So basically we're drawing big high time wedges, and then we are tweaking it with the inner wedges, oftentimes with the wedge alerts that we get. So this is we're looking at the higher time frame. Here we go. So that's that one. And we're seeing, so here's the high, here's the low, here's a lower high, and now we have a lower low based on this one. So this thing is still trending to the downside. So here's the anchor, here's the first hit, here's the anchor, here's the first hit. Now we're waiting to see what happens on the third hit of these trend lines. So I'm just going to lock this one in. I'm going to lock this one in. And now we're going to go to our 15-minute chart. So these are going to be our main references. We're going to be looking to see bounces off of. We're going to see what happens when this thing bounces, if it's going to go lower, or is it going to go up here and retest. And my guess is what's going to happen is it's going to come up here, retest somewhere around in this area, and then retest the bottom, and it's just going to stay in this area until it finally breaks to the. And the fact it's trending on down, eventually it's going to break to the upside, and then you can have a nice little move all the way up to looking at this area. This is basically, price action analysis. So we're going to have an area here. I'll make this one. And I'm going to make, see, we're going to call this one red since this is up at the top. Like this one, looking at this is going to be an area where we may want to be thinking about going short. So these are all the references to the 1 hour price pattern, which is basically spanning about 2 weeks worth of time here. And right now we have this bounce off of here, and we're going to see if this is going to break this level to the downside. So I'm going to mark this one. And we make this one green. I'll make it blue because we're not sure where if that's going to be, that could be a possible entry for us. Go to our 15-minute chart and see what we have in reference to the strong moves. You can see this was a strong move down. It came back, gave us a little wedge, a strong move down. Now it's bouncing off of this. This could be a reversal point. Although this is the second hit, so we don't have our third. This one's not confirmed. This trend line is not confirmed, but we do have the first bounce off of here. Now the question would be what's going to happen when it gets down here. If it bounces off of here this time, that could be the move towards the upside. And so other than that, we have to just sort of wait and see.
Yep. I like this pullback here. I like that pullback right where it's at on the UCAD. So we'll see if that, because I've got a trend line from the top. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on that trend line. This is the fourth hit. And I am selling UCAD again, I guess. Maybe I should just stop.
You sound excited today, Matt.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of had a great breakfast.
You had your Wheaties this morning.
Wheaties. Yeah, it was special. Let's put it that way. But, sometimes everything's working out really good. And I've been focused a lot. I've been putting, what would you say? How many hours have we put in the last week and a half when we started to take some more losses than usual with Hawkeye?
We've been doing a lot of tweaking, researching, trying to figure out how to fix the problem, so to speak. And
because the market shifted, right? The market really changed, and so we had to make some modifications. So I would say that in the last week and something, I've probably put like 40 hours of chart work in.
Because I don't get out of my chair very much during the day.
I really don't, Al. Sometimes we're there until like 4 o'clock, and we're like, oh yeah, market kind of sucks right now. Let's not do anything. But here's the question, guys. Yeah, it's not going to be typical, but is this just interesting to you, or are you going to take it serious? Are you going to put in the work to get the results, or are you just going to take the trade ideas that are posted here or demonstrated? The whole goal is to get closer to, achieving your goals without us. Like I've seen, you know what? When we started this channel, we had like 30 some people. And I think I'm of the opinion that there was a whole bunch of people that just wanted us to do the trades, do the analysis, and them just take the trades. And that's not what was going on.
So this is the pullback you're talking about right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we see how the drop, a little basic, dropped again. Now we have a little bit of a flag pattern right here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a small little wedge forming.
Oh, I like that wedge. I don't have that one. The one that you just made. Yeah, that's a nice one. I just use trend lines. That's a channel.
Yeah, there's a channel. There's our channel.
So we're looking for our channel breaker, because if you're a wedge trader, you're basically a trend line trader, because that's all wedges are.
So right now we're looking for the break of the C and coming down to retest this area. Now the question is there enough room to take this trade? And it would be, that's 21 pips. That's pretty, that's my 15-minute chart. That's 21 pips down to this area. So there's enough room to the downside. And see, this is US CAD. Let me go and put this on here, a different chart.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna put that. You'll see why I took the trade out.
yeah, I can see where this is. So, but if we get the break of this, we should be, and then see, looking what the, see, there's a pullback. So if we have this area from strong move down, not as, if you look at the angle of from this move to this move, it's pretty sharp. This one's a little bit more gentle, I guess you could say. So if you click from this move to here and we do a trend analysis, trend extension analysis from the high here to the A, which is our low of this channel, to our D, which is take us on up to the top of the D. If it gets if it can pull back enough, the target down would be, drive this backwards here. No, it should be right. We should at least get to this area in here, which is pretty much right at our trend line. So we may get another bounce off of this trend line for it to start going higher. This is a pretty sharp pullback, which means this thing could start making this could be the bounce to go back on up to the upside.
Yeah, it could be a bigger retrace than we first expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're on point there, Al.
So if it breaks, I would expect a strong bounce off of this level down in here. Now I'd be looking at probably this blue candle. We had nice blue candle, nice series of, we had 3 candles straight up. That was 45 minutes. It went straight up, not a red candle in there. Came back next 3, not quite as, next 45 minutes came back down, but not quite as low. So right now, strong move to the upside. In the same time period, a weaker move to the downside. So I would be looking at a possible area to reverse positions, and if it comes back down into this area right in here. And then I'm saying that because of this major trend line came down, and this is not confirmed that this is the second hit. Then the question is going to be, when it comes back down to retest this, is it going to break through or not? And that's what we're looking at right now.
We're about to find out, Al.
Yep, and here's a nice little channel.
Now I've got my finger on my close the trade right now, because I'm not going to let it go to what is it, 31.17. That's the upside of my 1 minute wedge, and I'm not letting that that candle close above there. And the reason is because a trend line is a trend line, and once you have 3 hits on a trend line and a 4th hit on a trend line, if it breaches, if the candle comes up and slices through that trend line after you have a couple confirmations on that trend line, that invalidates it, and that's a significant point. And that works on 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, 4 hour. The truths that you see here with the trend lines that intersect, and then you put the stick from the high to the low of the wedge, and it goes there 75-80% of the time. That happens on every time frame, and that's why we love to go down into the 1 minute and try to get those earlier entries inside, but it's much higher probabilities when it stays outside of the wedge. And as for the alerts not showing up in that, after this session, I'm gonna get in contact with the leadership team and find out what's going on, because it probably has to do with the interface and the new market. I have access to the back end of the website for Auvoria Prime, and I'm not seeing the new alerts show up. So some way it's not being loaded in there. And Al, UCAD, I think you might be right. I think that's the That's the
See
turnaround.
how UJ's doing here. UJ had the pullback, came back right here, and it's making its way down to, it's still heading on down.
Yep, UJ was beautiful. Let's see if I can
It's a beautiful.
find. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I had a 4-hour wedge on UJ.
Mhm.
Like I had, and that's a significant wedge. I don't even know where the take profit was. Let's just put it that way. It was so big.
But that's not going to happen in the next few minutes. It's going to be more of maybe a couple of days.
Yeah, it will. 31.17.
When you're drawing wedges on 4-hour charts, you're probably spanning a 2-week period. So it's probably going to take you at least half of that time for that full range to develop. We're only talking 15-minute charts, and we're talking now day ranges. So oftentimes the wedges that we draw, the targets that we do on the lower time frames, they'll develop within that day period. So the question is if you want to be more of a swing trader, if you want to be more of just a day trader on this thing. The smaller the time frame, the sooner you're going to get in, sooner you're going to get out, but the less you're going to make, because you're not going to catch those real big runs unless you can
Okay, I'm out of
those
UCAD.
targets onto the higher time frames.
So that means that UCAD is going up.
And oftentimes you're going to see where if we have, well, let's see. A lot of times what you'll see is if you draw these fib lines, and you can draw and find out where the thirds are, you'll find out that oftentimes things are going to consolidate and sort of stall in the middle of these ranges. Now this is on 15 minutes, so we got 60 some pips in between. Let's see where the next one would be. And so you can see right here where this thing broke was right in what got into the middle of this. It came up, didn't quite actually did get up to the top up here, retested it. But now this was pretty much the meat of the matter. This is where that strong move down came in right in here. From this move, from the 15-minute to the 15-minute red to green zone, or green to blue, or red to blue, you're going to find out that oftentimes these strong moves are going to be right through this middle part. This is what I call sort of like the real money zone right here. If you can get in up in this area, grab the money zone, and then get out down near the bottom. Now, sometimes it goes further, which in this case, you can see where it actually broke through the bottom, but you're also seeing where the extension now is just basically a little bit of an overshoot. And from this green, you have a blue one down here. So this is really the overshoot of, it just came into this demand zone. Now that doesn't mean it's not going to keep on coming into it, but it would not be surprising to see it come down right halfway into this section right here, which is just right where it is. If you look at from this move, it entered into the demand zone. It went halfway into this top third section of this whole area, and then it stopped. And these are basically just thirds. It's 33, 33, 33 of this whole range. And you can, oftentimes you'll see it's going to go halfway into the range and it's going to come back and retest. That's just a little bit of tidbit on how to use these fib tools that we're giving you.
Oh, you were on point, Al. You were on point.
Now you're seeing this thing starting to come back up, and this might be a reversal area right in here. This is a major zone. Passed it, checked it, it may come up, pass it, recheck it again, and then take off to the upside. So if you're looking at something like this where we have a strong down move, past the 15, comes back up, checks it. Now, if it doesn't go beyond this, looks like it may actually still want to be going short again.
Mm-hmm.
It came past, it checked it, 15 minutes, came right up, tested it, if it can break through the bottom, we're probably coming down into another area of a target, probably down into this area, or even maybe into, I'd probably even look at the zone of somewhere between the 78 and the 123 or 127. 127 is a major fib number of a percent retracement. So I'd be looking at somewhere in here for a target.
Are you in UJ short again?
No, I'm not. I'm just too busy trying to chart rather than try and take the trades.
All good. All good.
We're going to lock that here. And we'll just see what happens with this. Yeah, I missed the main move of the day, so I'm just not going to try and chase it.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that kind of mindset.
When it goes this far, when you have this much of a move, more than likely it's going to start getting another little pullback.
Mm-hmm. And it's
then
going to consolidate nicely.
It's going to consolidate, and then maybe consolidate more in a higher time frame. Right now, it's just trending. Strong move down. There's a little bit of a basing area. Another strong move down, but this is if from an Elliott wave standpoint, I would say that this was the wave 1, wave 2. This is your third wave right here. This is the one we know. Wave 3. This is wave 4. This is pretty much the end of wave 5, and then you're going to be looking for an A, B, C retracement up into here, which is probably going to tag your 62. Now I want a 1 minute chart here to be tagging that, and then it comes down and maybe retest the bottom here. So right now I'd be looking at a move from this point up here to here, come back up, retest this area, which would be about a, probably not quite that high, probably about a 61.8% retracement, which is coming right up into this area, and then a target of the 78 to 127. More than likely the 1-to-1.
So you're on UJ right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a nice move, nice retracement to bounce off of this, and now it's looking like it wants to come back down again some more.
Yeah.
And this is one way how you can kind of stay in the trades if you're disciplined and your emotions can handle that. And you can just keep on trying to ride this all the way down to where our higher time frame, where our 1 hour demand zone was.
So UJ is going to slice through my wedge here. There's an important. So if it closes there, this is the candle that's closing on the outside of my UJ wedge. So we'll see what happens. There's so much downward pressure here, Al, that I think you're wise. You're very wise not to take a short because it has to retrace.
Yeah.
It has to make a pretty significant retracement because we had one wedge and then we had another wedge. So it kind of needs to pull back towards the 62 before it continues going any shorter.
You can look at your whole moving averages. You see lots of red here. Here was a little pullback. This 1 minute, the 15 was red. The 5 was red. Here's your 1 minute pullback, which is right up in this area. This was the pullback. Everything else stayed red. And then once this thing turned, when this one came back red again, then you had this next big move.
I'd say it's been a couple.
And right now they're all red again. And it will probably go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll probably go for the next 5 or 10 minutes. It'll probably stay red for the next 5 or 10 minutes until it gets down to this area. And one thing you can look at too is like what the time factor is on how long these moves last or how long they stay. Because as they become weaker and weaker, the length of this red move is going to be shorter and shorter. Like here's a nice long move. This is where the big move was, right in here. Came back down. This was a little bit short retracement. This was going to be a little bit, but this move isn't probably going to be as steep as that first one. And you can see where it's starting to give up a little bit of steam down here.
Oh my goodness. So I just drew a daily pitchfork. No, sorry, not a daily pitchfork, but a daily wedge on UJ. And it's so good that it's just stunning. Let me throw a target out there just because we know the realities of wedges and how they work. So let me triple check this before I put this out there. Hold on. Let's see.
This could be the bottom of this move. It could start retracing back up. See how this thing, how we nice move down, came back up, retraced, and now this candle right here. So right now, if you look at this formation, you have a low and have a little bit of a higher low right now. So this thing's starting to form its own. Here's a low, here's a high, here's a higher low. Now the question is if this candle right here is going to break or not. Right now it came up. Here's a low, here's the high. Here's a higher low. And now we'll see if it's going to make a lower high somewhere in here. Or if it's so I'm going to just flat line it right here. So right now this is a new wedge that's forming in.
I don't even want to. Let's whatever. This is too much.
And here was the high. Here's the red candle. This is the top of the red candle. Strong candle down. Came back up. So this candle right here has so there's a high. Here's a low. Here's a lower high. Here's a higher low. So right now this is where it's forming the wedge. And now the question, it's in its own little wedge right now. Now the question is, if it breaks, closes above this 15, closes above, by the time this all happens, the 62 may be down here, and you might start getting the reversal to retest this area up in here. If not, it's going to come down and keep on going back into our target area.
How about we have a little fun from the higher time frame just to explore something?
Yeah,
potentially.
We have about 15 minutes. So what chart do you want?
UJ on daily.
UJ daily.
That's probably easier. It's probably easier if I show it real quick.
You want to show it? Okay.
Yeah, I will. My chart's really clean, so
I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Cool. So let's go to here. So daily. It's almost self-explanatory, but this is significant. The other side of this coin is that I don't like how it's always doing that. So it broke there. And remember, this is daily. These are 200 pips between here. And this is a 500 pip stick. So it's just out there. And then here's what I did on the 1 minute. So here's the wedge I drew as soon as I came into the session. I went to the 30-minute, I drew a wedge, and then I put a stick. I drew the stick from the top of the wedge to the bottom of this connection point. And then I waited for the break. And I took the break. And then I exited, waited for another break, exited, Here, I didn't really like this wedge. I didn't have enough connection points for it to really be valid. So because it's doing ABC correction, you can kind of see A, B, C, and then it'll potentially, here it's going to be a flat bottom, kind of. And then just trying to get, so here's how I took this one, and you'll see it again. Let's put this one white. See, the realities of this is unreal. This move here is, I think it's 9 pips. No, 5, 6. Okay, 6. So 6 pips. So now it's coming up a little bit. But do I think it's going to come back into this wedge? I don't think so. I think there's so much momentum down that this is now becoming its own wedge at the higher time frame. So if I go to the 5-minute chart, we can maybe see something. So you see how there's a big gap between the 13 and the 62. Just want to see where the 30-minute 62 is. I guess I don't have it. So here you might have, it could come up here before it bounces again. So who knows how much heat I'll get in on it. I'm in a sell anyway, and I'm putting my stop loss somewhere up here because I'm just doing a little bit of a longer run just because the setup is pretty clean. And what is our time?
Right now we have about 10 more minutes. And my first question is, anybody have any questions while we have only 10 more minutes left?
Yes, that is a great question to ask.
Today's been rather than a little bit different type of a day since we didn't really have alerts, but we did kind of created our own and found our own. We did get some nice moves today. The question is, do we confuse everybody? Does everybody understand what we're doing? Do they understand the reason for going to the higher time frames to find out these bigger channels so that we don't get whipsawed? If you get these higher time frame channels and you get the bounces off those channels, you have a little bit better chance of getting in the right position.
Absolutely.
The right time.
Absolutely, Al. And
and then go to the lower time frames to be able to try and fine tune those entries.
Yeah, because the higher time frame trend lines are going to give you these kind of bounces. The higher time frame trend lines and the higher time frame wedges are going to allow you to see where you can potentially see setups. And because if you're a TradingView subscriber, then you can set up alerts on these trend lines just by going like this. And if I say I want an alert there, I just create an alert and I get a pop-up on my phone that says so-and-so is crossing this trend line. Here I'm going to put an alert too, and I can make as many alerts as I want on whatever time frame that I want. So I can have an idea of when I'm going to get my next take profit. And then my take profit would be 104.50. So why use TradingView? Because it's good to have the right tools to get paid. You know, my dad's a construction worker. He's been working in construction for the last going on almost 40 years. And he said this: you need to buy the right tools to get the job done. You're not going to walk into a construction site with a bunch of tools from the dollar store, right? You're going to get Makita, you're going to get DeWalt, you're going to show up with a decent hammer and tools, and it's just like that in the Forex. yes, there is, you got to spend some money to make some money, and it is not as expensive as it used to be. You know, the membership for AIRIS right now is only $59 a month. TradingView subscription for Pro Plus is $20 a month, maybe 30. If you get it on sale, there's always offers. You can get it for something like $15 a month. And I mean, it's, if I had access to this when I first started trading, I'd be so much further ahead than where I am now. Would you say so, Al?
Yeah, I always use the term that cheap tools are expensive.
Oh, that is so good. You're just gonna have to replace it all the time, and you're wasting time. So, for example, if you're doing, say you want to cut down a tree, this is so simple. Are you gonna spend $3 at the dollar store for a saw, a hand saw, or are you gonna go spend $100 at Home Depot to rent a chainsaw, heavy duty chainsaw, and get the job done? What you're doing with Auvoria Prime is you're paying for tools to get the job done faster and more efficient. What the most valuable thing that you have in your life is your time. And if you have kids, you realize that like time is a big deal, and time goes by fast. So anyway, really appreciate everyone that was here. I think Al, you have any final words to say for this morning? If not,
well, let's just see if there's anything else that's happening, or does anybody have any questions, comments? Raise your hand. We'll turn your mic on. You're free to ask us questions or make a comment. I don't know if we have any more trades to take in the next few minutes. The market's going to be opening up in another 8 minutes or so.
Yeah, you want to be careful.
In fact, we're not getting any alerts. There's not much to really show you right now. And I said we could cut this a little bit shorter today.
Well, Leslie says, loving this teaching. Thanks, guys.
Okay, well, good. So hopefully we can give everybody some new little tidbits of information every day, something to put into your memory banks and your toolboxes to maybe give you that little extra edge. And all trading this is you're doing probabilities. We're setting up probabilities. We're just trying to get that little bit of an edge that other people don't have, or that the brokers have, and try to catch what their edges are, so that we can become profitable and take only high probability trades, ones that are going to we don't want to, and learn how to select which ones are going to be stronger, which ones are not. When you get a break on a 1 minute wedge, is not going to be as strong as the break of a higher time frame wedge. But having said that, it's just like a big boat. It's harder to turn the tide, but once it turns, it keeps on going for a while. And that's when the reasons for these higher time frames. You'll get the break, but it may just be a small break for a big fish, but it's also takes a little bit of while sometimes for it to actually develop, even after it does break. And we noticed earlier today on the U.S. yen, we actually had the break below our initial trend, but took us a little bit of a while for it to actually develop and actually materialize after that break. A good example is if I show my chart. Let me get my charts up here. I think you got the sharing there, Matt. Where'd my
Yeah,
go?
yeah. Hold on a sec. Sorry.
Okay, no, I didn't know
There we
you were
go.
still there.
No,
Okay,
I was
there we
here.
go. I was trying to get my screen sharing here again, and just want to show this a little bit. The reference I'm trying to mention here before we go. Over here on the US yen, we had. I'm on the back of my 15-minute chart, but these green lines were trend lines that we had. We had the break. This was the top trend line. This was the bottom trend line, but this was the even higher time frame. Let me just make this into actually make this one into my purple one, which I usually do. So this was what the color we usually use, and it broke. But here was the higher time frame right here. That this was like the off a 4-hour chart. But when it broke this on the 15-minute, it broke it, but it didn't just drop right away. It broke it into base. It came down, tested this, it based some more. So really, from this break of the main one till we get to the heart, and this one wasn't confirmed yet. This is the confirmation now, I believe, on this one. But you can see where the time it wasn't immediate. It still took another no, let's see, what's this? 24 bars, another 6 hours before it finally broke. But then when it did break, after that little basing in here, then it went with a lot of steam, and that's what
Yeah.
we got. And then we got this, and then again it broke. This fib line came down, based, and then it broke again. And it's still, oh, but it doesn't happen immediate, and that's one reason why the higher time frames are actually kind of nice, because usually when you do get the alert, it does give you some time to get in. One of the things
Yep.
we've been having, one of the problems we've been having with the alerts is that the alerts are based on a 15-minute chart. We get the alert, and we said, oh, by the time we get the alert, by the time we sit down and draw our wedges, it's already passed. Well, really, it's not if you're looking at the higher time frames. And a lot of times it does just give you say, hey, take a look at this. It's this is something's happening here. What it is it not exactly clear, but somewhere over here, there's a man over here that's going to go and drop this thing into it. So play on some words. Anyway,
I
so
like that.
so anyway, that's what you need to be looking at, is that don't forget the higher time frames when you get the alerts, but then also don't forget the lower time frames to try and fine tune those entries. That's where you can get those 7 pips and 10 pip stops on a 20, 30, 40 pip, 100 pip move. But you have to be able to reference it. You can't get those moves if you're in the middle of a major zone. You'll have your little wedge, but you're not going to get the big move because you have to know where your higher time frame targets are. And that's all I can say about that.
You have to know where the roadblocks are.
Yeah, know where the roadblocks are. So with that, again, thanks for coming. Keep your powder dry, stay green, and we'll see everybody tonight. We'll be in here tonight at 9:30 if anybody wants to join us. And usually it's a little slower, smaller sessions, but we can have a little bit more informal discussion about things. If any things that you discover during the day today, if you want to bring them in tonight, around 9:30 tonight, we will be here. Until then, see you then.
See you later, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.
Everybody, be well. God bless.